I was at the Society for Research on Nicotine and Tobacco annual meeting in Chicago last year, and I was hearing in session after session reports of increased risks associated with electronic cigarettes. So there's toxicants in the liquids, there are toxicants in the aerosol. Those toxicants are harming animals. They're even starting to get evidence that they're harming people. And I just kept thinking about this 95% safer statement, and how is that consistent with all these reports of toxicants and harm? And so I approached some of my co-authors at that same meeting, Dr. Yort and Dr. Bhatnagar, and we just started talking about this, and we realized that there's enough evidence has accumulated that we needed to readdress that 95% safer statement and see whether it was still valid. And then in the context of doing that, we realized, of course, that the devices and the liquids have changed dramatically since that statement was first put out in 2014. And that also influences the risk. So it just became overwhelmingly clear to all of us that we needed to reassess that 95% risk statement. And when we did, we didn't see any reason why people should continue repeating it. We just don't have the data to make that kind of statement yet. People are latching onto it, and they're using that as a reason to either start using electronic cigarettes or to keep using electronic cigarettes. Now, I have no problem with a cigarette smoker who wants to quit smoking, who's tried all other methods to help them quit smoking, and they decide to use an e-cigarette to help them quit smoking. I have no problem with that if A, they stop smoking entirely, and B, they use that e-cigarette for a short period of time to accomplish that goal, say 3 months. I don't think that e-cigarettes are going to cause death and disease in 3 months. Where I do have a problem with e-cigarettes are if that cigarette smoker who's quit smoking using an e-cigarette continues to use an e-cigarette for the next 10 or 20 years, because I don't know what sort of diseases those e-cigarettes might cause over the long term. And then secondly, I have a big problem with people thinking e-cigarettes are 95% safer than combustible cigarettes if that leads young people or any nicotine naive person to say, hey, why don't I give this a try? It looks like fun. And then they become dependent on it, and then 10 or 15 years later, they're starting to get sick because of that dependence.